Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to Blunt and Honest, a little segment show where I get absolutely torched and then give my honest opinion about different things going on in the world. Today, we're going to talk about Disney World losing their self governance status. Ron DeSantis doing big things down in Florida to start holding them accountable. If you disagree with my thoughts on this, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. Love to have a conversation about it. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe and like for more. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one. So here's the thing about Disney. I used to love Disney. I'm a 90s kid. Of course I love Disney. Used to love Pixar. Or sorry, I used to love Disney. Lived in Florida. Grandpa worked for Disney World. We used to go all the time. I love the parks. I love the rides. I love the engineering. I love the theming. I love roller coasters and theme parks. So, and dark rides, a good dark ride too. So, Disney has that. Then everything took a dive. Again, I still like the engineering of the parks. We went in September, like a family trip in September. First time I've been there since 2011. There was a lot to really enjoy. Um, Mainly just again the rides, theming, a little bit of the food. Um, there's a lot to not enjoy. Uh, there were a whole lot of guys in very exposed clothing and dresses and short skirts and things like that, which I feel is very inappropriate around kids. Um, it was it was weird, and it wasn't weird because like I know obviously that's around, but to think it's okay to be dressed the way they were, exposed the way they were around little kids, it's very disturbing. Um, Now Disney decided that this is their path in life is they want to make everything LGBT whatever. They want to make everything about acceptance, and if you go against anything that the far left and the LGBTQ crowd says, then you're a bigot and you're hateful and you're disgusting. And that's fine. That was their right to do that. However, when the bill came out in Florida and they were saying, "Oh, the don't say gay bill," which it never was. Everybody everywhere knows the facts. They just don't want to admit it, or it's like screaming it into the wind if you know what the bill actually was. So they decided they were going to help fight against the government, which technically they are not a part of because they've been able to self govern. They've got their own everything, including police and fire and all that. So now they want to go and attack the state that's given them everything and start playing politics as a corporation. You want to stay a corporation and have your opinions, that's fine. When you start diving into politics, that's when you got to start playing. You're going to start playing politics. So Ron DeSantis is doing a great thing to help and that self governance that Disney benefits from, the taxes, all that stuff. It's amazing what they're allowed to get away with. And the reason it was is because they drew tourists to Florida, which of course is amazing. That builds the economy around it. But that's the thing. If you want to play, fine. You're jumping into the deep end of the pool. Hope you can swim. That's all it is.
Announced that he was going to end their self governing powers. So they pretty much have ran like a corporate town for the past, I don't know, couple of decades, ever since they built Disneyland. Is it Disneyland or World? Either way,
It's world. Orlando's world.
they own massive property in Florida's Orange County. Massive amounts of property.
Like when they say or when he's saying massive amounts of property, I think the original Disneyland was built on like 40 or 43 square acres, something in that range, 40 square acres. The property at Disney World was like 42 square miles. Like it does not compare. It's kind of crazy because when we were down there in September, just off the main drag, you go down the road and it's all super busy. And there's a little putt putt spot. And so one day we had time to kill, so my dad and I went and played putt putt. And when you get up on top, you look and it's a sea of trees. And sticking up, you see the hotels like the Swan and Dolphin. You see Mount Everest over at Animal Kingdom, and you see Tower of Terror over at MGM. And there's nothing, you can't see Magic Kingdom. It's just further up the road, but you can't see anything at that 180-foot tower castle. You can't see it, but you can see those two, and it's just that shows you how much of a just how much area it covers. It is absolutely insane.
because they didn't need to really go to the government to get any kind of permits or anything. They can just kind of do what they wanted. And those days are over. Done.
Like I said, all they had to do was have an opinion and keep it at that. And this is the problem. All the corporations trying to get into politics. And it's like, look, you're not going to like the outcome of that. I mean, it's alienating half of the world, which is never a good business plan. Um, or half the world, I'll say half the country, but half the world, you got a shot at 50-50 believing your politics. But when it comes to kids, you're not going to get that lucky. Like I said, all they had to do was nothing and it'd be fine. But this is what happens when you bow to the woke mob. And that's exactly what Disney's doing. They're bowing down. And it's funny because all the gay stuff they had in um I don't who what was it? Wakanda Forever, the gay kiss, that got removed so the movie could release in Saudi Arabia. I want to say Lightyear did the same thing. Um, when they removed or shrunk down Finn on Star Wars when they released it in China so that there wasn't a black guy on the front of it. Like all this woke, bowing to the woke mob, it's all for show. They obviously don't believe it. Otherwise, what I just said wouldn't have happened. Um, Yet the woke mob is spending all their money and supporting them to the fullest extent when it's obviously false, and everybody else is getting mad at them. Okay, my brain just shut down. Getting witty, that thing's ringing. My brain just. All right, let's reboot. The hell was I just talking about? Yeah, I got no idea, man. This is huh. All right.
A plan was announced on Friday that said Florida lawmakers will seek legislation increasing state oversight, accountability, and transparency of the district, which gives Disney quasi government control over its theme park properties in Florida. DeSantis is expected to appoint a new board to control Reedy Creek, which has been run by Disney since its creation in 1967. All that is over. Imagine throwing all of that away, pissing it all away, all of that power that they had, so that they could involve themselves in a bill that they had no business getting involved in because a bunch of people on the left on Twitter were mad at them for staying silent.
See, like I said, it shows woke mob, bow down to the woke mob. That way, you cater to a handful, which is the vocal minority, which, as I talked about with the Hogwarts game, you got all these people yelling to boycott, yet the game still is like the number one game or number two game being bought, and it doesn't come out for a couple weeks. Just like this, you have the woke mob screaming and yelling, and now everybody all the let's say conservatives, Republicans, people on the fence who like to go to the parks and still love the old stories, yeah, alienate them, which is a vast majority, to cater to the small vocal minority. And that's when you lose everything. That's why DeSantis is doing this. That's why, things are about to get really tough and probably really expensive for Disney. And everybody's gonna, well, not everybody, but that side's gonna blame DeSantis. And the reality of it is it's their fault. Welcome to the world of, our parent regulation, essentially. You want to get the government involved, the government's involved. Now, how do you feel? Feel pretty stupid, don't you? And everybody that's saying things are going to get better with Iger, you're delusional because Iger's the architect of everything that's been happening. APEC was just, he was just the figurehead for the moment. Everybody got mad at him, so now he's gone. So now Iger's back. So it's just bringing back in the original architect. So I don't know what you expect.
This is why I never liked Chapek when he was running the company. I said he was a coward, a spineless wimp. He was never a savior of that company because he was the man who jumped headfirst into it and wanted to fight them. It's not changing under Iger either. I don't like Iger either. Iger would have probably done the same damn thing.
He would have, because he's the one, again, that planned all this out.
But Chapek was no savior. He jumped right in on this shit and he paid for it. The corporate kingdom will come to an end, a DeSantis rep said Friday. Under this new legislation, Disney will no longer control its own government, will live under the same laws as everyone else, and will be responsible for their outstanding debts and will pay for their fair share of taxes. They're saying that they're going to end up having to pay $700 million in unsecured debt. That's crazy. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, that's a drop in the hat for them, but uh, that's nothing to them. So that's not even the big one. And they still don't understand, even with all this shit. If it didn't cost $4,000 to go for a couple of days for a family of four, people would go. Like a lot more people would go. You charge $75 for the day instead of 120. Well, now that's a date night or that's a date day, even for the locals, let alone people that are coming down. People going to Universal Studios have a lot easier time paying $75. If they get a deal online, they can pay $60 to go for the day, even if it's only one park, no park hopper. People that are in Busch Gardens, Universal Studios, or they're just around town doing something, it makes a lot more sense to be like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna have like 7 hours. I can just go and do this. 6 hours. $60 ain't bad. But instead, they jack up the prices, and they basically said it. They want to attract the people with money. They want to keep the poors out. And they want to attract the people with money that are willing to pay $7 for a bottle of water. Granted, I think it's like four, but still ridiculous amounts of money for stuff. I forgot where I was going with that. So